אחרי מועצת העם, נציגי היישוב העברי והתנועה הציונית, ביום סיום המנדט הבריטי על ארץ ישראל, תוקף זכותנו הטבעית וההיסטורית, על יסוד החלטת עצרת האומות המאוחדות, אנו מכריזים בזאת על הקמת מדינה יהודית בארץ ישראל, היא מדינת ישראל.
At the Independence Hall in southern Tel Aviv, I met tour guide Itzik Dror, who told me the story of this modest hall where the State of Israel was declared. The Independence Hall is located in the home of Mayor Dizengoff, the founder of Tel Aviv. Although the natural place to declare the state should have been in Jerusalem, the capital of Israel, that option was not possible.
You have to understand, Israel was born through agony. The country was in a state of war. Few weeks after the beginning of that war, Jerusalem was already under siege. So you see, it was impossible to go there and to declare independence. The roads to Jerusalem were blocked. A tiny Jewish government was sitting in Tel Aviv.
But even in Tel Aviv, things were far from peaceful.
The day Israel was declared was the day that the British rule came to an end. 6 Arab armies were ready to invade Israel the minute the British rule will come to an end. So it was clear that Tel Aviv will be under air raid that day. And they chose this hall. You can see around you where we are. It is as if you are in a shelter, in a bomb shelter. Israel was born in a shelter.
The whole ceremony was organized quickly and secretly. Even the chairs that the founders of the state sat on were gathered in haste from nearby stores.
They had no time, nor the budget for a big and expensive ceremony. This stage, it was built by 2 volunteers who came here 48 hours before the ceremony. These carpets, these are the real carpets, were borrowed as well from a tiny shop around the corner here. The microphones were borrowed as well. If you can see, there is a description here. Tzlil was the name of the tiny electronic shop who gave this equipment for the use of the ceremony. And this is how David Ben-Gurion declared the establishment of the third temple, if you like, and in the same time did advertisement to a tiny shop around the corner called Tzlil. Thanks God they didn't borrow something from the Coca-Cola company. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the signs? The State of Israel is born through the sponsorship of the Coca-Cola company.
Although it was probably the most meaningful Independence Day, the first Yom HaAtzma'ut didn't have many celebrations.
And the Egyptians were blitzed Tel Aviv that night. So there was no time for celebrations. People did not rejoice in the streets. It was really one of the most dangerous days to our people. Nobody knew how are we going to survive it.
Until a short time before Ben-Gurion and the others signed the declaration, there were some issues that were still being discussed, like the name of the state. Judea, Zion, and the western side of the Jordan River were some of the proposed names. Even the inclusion of God's name in the declaration was controversial, and at the end, it was decided that God would be referred to as the Rock of Israel, a term that could be understood in many ways. But the lasting legacy of this event was Ben-Gurion reading the words that have since been etched in the hearts of the Jewish people. We hereby declare the establishment of a Jewish state in the land of Israel, the State of Israel.
Israel was not established here. A Jewish state was established here, to be known as Israel. So you see, if they would have declared an Israeli state, it would be a state only for us Israelis. If you declare a Jewish state, automatically all the Jews around the world are taking part in this. And suddenly we have an army. What kind of a chutzpah is it? You know, a Jewish army? Suddenly the Jews protect themselves. And what happened here was that David Ben-Gurion opened a door that was shut to millions of our people during the years.